Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Scarlet Hollow. As today we deal with the unfortunate side effects of getting completely and thoroughly stoned. Maybe it won't be so bad this time. It's not like every other chapter of this game has ended with a nightmarish mishmash of horror and permanent trauma. Here we go. Your vision swims back into focus, and it takes a solid second or two to reorient yourself. You're in an unfamiliar bed. Reese leans against the far wall, eyeing you with concern and curiosity. That's the upside-down head monster from John Carpenter's The Thing. Good taste. Less a fan of Pinhead and Hellraiser, but I suppose that is technically classic body horror. Hey, I was worried you'd slipped into a coma or something. You tore down a wall like a wild animal, found some weird carving, and collapsed. I think you might have had some kind of seizure. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Just your average search and seizure. So wait, nothing crazy happened? No, nothing. You just fell down, twitched a little, and when you seemed stable, I carried you back here. That was a few hours ago. A few hours ago? Jeez, man, I sure hope you let other people know. But, Thanks, Reese. I appreciate it. No problem. Just figured you'd rather wake up in a bed than that musty hallway. Or the morgue. Yeah, I guess if I woke up in a morgue, I'd have, questions. Does Doc Kelly know I'm here? No, I snuck you back into the house while she was busy in the medical storage room. Figured you, wouldn't want to come too in the morgue. We'll skip the ambulance thing. His mom's the only doctor in town. Wouldn't really make much sense. I had a vision. What, like a hallucination? I have those sometimes too. Used to have them a lot as a teen. Really? Always just weird little things, like my hands would look wrong, or my neck would seem too long, or the room would feel smaller. Really? I think we might be getting back into werewolf territory. I think those stones are giving me visions of things that really happened. Whoa. I wonder if you'd see anything else if you went back in there. Or if there are more around town. Maybe if you collect them all, you'll finally unravel whatever the big mystery is. Seems fun. Yeah, fun is a word for it. Alright, well, I should probably get going. Stella's still missing, and the stone stopped yelling at me. Yeah, that might be a little tricky. The doc is on the warpath up there. I refused to take my medicine, and she's not happy about it. But after I looked this up, there was no way I was going to take anything she gave me. She's been poisoning me for years. I went ahead and blocked my door so she can't get down here. Now we just have to wait her out. I mean, we can't stay down here forever, Reese. I don't get it. Why would your mom poison you? I don't know. But the internet says this is castor bean. It's used to make ricin, a super deadly poison that causes some of my exact symptoms. And death, usually. thing I can't figure out is whether she's been trying to kill me slowly, or if she just likes keeping me sick enough to be dependent on her. Either way, I don't think I ever had an illness. I think the illness was me growing up and becoming less easy to control. She sure found a cure for that. Reese, I'm no expert, but ricin is super deadly. How are you still alive? I don't know. Maybe it's low enough doses. Or maybe I developed a tolerance. But I think the fact that I feel more and more alive by the minute is enough proof that she was keeping me sick. I don't even need solid evidence. I don't know. I'm not really sure which direction to move on this, but... Well, no matter what happens, we should definitely get out of this basement. Where would we even go? The only person I know who has a car is Kanika, and she's not answering her phone. I don't know anyone else. I don't have any other family to go to. I never even finished high school. When I get out of this house, I don't know how I can make sure I don't wind up right back down here. Look, Reese, I get it. There's a lot going on right now and you're freaking out. But you can't sweat all the details before we even really know what's going on. We'll figure it out. Together. One step at a time. You'll help me? I couldn't ask that of you. But I guess I don't have much of an alternative. Thank you, Ret. You have no idea how much that means to me. A distraction seems like a good idea. As you can probably tell, I'm getting a little jittery. Maybe it's the lack of poison in my system for the first time in years, or the fact that my whole perception of reality has been turned on its head. Probably a combo. It doesn't feel awful, to be honest. Sure, but what if your mom doesn't just fall asleep or leave us alone? You shouldn't call her my mom. As far as I'm concerned, she's forfeited that title. I don't even think I should call her doctor. She's just some woman now. Can't wait for her to be in the rearview mirror of the rest of my life. If she doesn't fall asleep by 10, we can figure something else out. These windows are supposedly shatterproof, which she always said was for burglars. Now I assume it was yet another way to keep me boxed in. But we can try to break them anyway. Uh-huh. Yeah, that is certainly a possibility. Well, you know what? I believe you mentioned something about... Shi no Chi Deathblood? I believe I did. Reese gets the movie set up and joins you on the bed. Oh my. Let me know if it gets to be too much for you. I'm not a great judge of how other people react to the sort of things I watch, but I definitely don't want you to feel uncomfortable. This is a real slow burn of a movie, but the dread it's managing to build is palpable in the room. Or maybe that's just how it feels down here all the time, what with the grisly paintings, lack of lighting, cinder block walls, and, of course, the fact that the woman currently lurking upstairs had been poisoning her son since his teens. I've seen a couple of this director's other films, and they're all interesting, though this is probably the best introduction to his work. The way it jump cuts to seemingly unrelated TV show recordings and that then wind up tying back into the narrative adds a level of realism and depth to the narrative that I find really engrossing. It's found footage used to its fullest. I can't believe I'll be able to just do things from here on out. like watch movies with another person. Or talk to people. Ever. You can hear the difference in energy now that Rhys hasn't had his daily dose of poison. He's uncharacteristically chatty, clearly not used to talking to another person, let alone when he has the energy to carry on a long conversation. I'm really happy for you, man. I'm glad to be your friend. Rhys smiles to himself. It's still hard to imagine, hard to believe, after all these years alone, that's going to be my reality. A man on the screen yells portents of doom into the camera, trailing off into a wordless scream. The plot is really heating up. That's one of the main creators for the game. I love that there are all these distinct sort of vignettes, little pockets of horror that affect a small number of people. And only once you start to see how they fit together can you realize some fundamental horror about the universe. And then that horror sees you back. Incredible. Cosmic horror in the truest sense. Rhys is becoming very animated. It's probably safe to assume that he's dealing with a lot of extra adrenaline right now, what with his entire reality turning out to be a lie. But he's also talking over the movie. Oh, who cares? We're not here to watch a movie. Yeah, it's fine. Let him talk. Kid's excited. And it's something he's passionate about, which I respect. Sorry if I'm talking a lot. I'm just jittery. It's a little terrifying to think that she's up there right now. There's a knock on the window. Oh. Retcon, don't get any closer to that thing. It's time to go home. That voice. I know that voice. Is that who's been following you around? Without another word, Wayne starts pounding on the supposedly shatterproof window. Enemies upstairs, enemies outside. We're surrounded. Even if I get out of this house, I won't be safe. You won't be safe. Oh boy. Okay, things are starting to get a bit out of hand. Why did he call you a thing? Because he's some kind of monster, and he wants me dead. Can't you feel that? The murderous intent is practically oozing out of him. But I'm not weak anymore. I can fight back. I don't have to cower in fear from the people who want to hurt me. I can protect both of us, Retcon. The window shatters. Okay, hold on. As Rhys tears at his clothes, paint bubbles out from the canvases, his ghoulish pictures peeling themselves out of their two-dimensional worlds, invading yours, crawling up the walls. So not a werewolf, then. Well, we're seeing a tail. Grab my hand. I'll pull you out. Leave us alone! In a surge of violence, the change that has been brewing inside Rhys finally comes. As it manifests, the broken basement window is sealed off, and Wayne along with it. We have a reality shifter. Are we cool, Rhys? We aren't safe, but I can protect you. I can protect the both of us from the people who want to control us. I feel strong now. I think I can save us. Stay here. I'll be right back. I just have to deal with the doc. Rhys storms up the stairs, leaving you with his smears. I'm just gonna maybe call for some backup, perhaps. You dial your cousin's number. Hey, where are you? Hey Tabs. Yeah, it's me, Rat. Sorry, I haven't been keeping in touch. Tell me, what do you know about Rhys? That dying emo kid? Just said he's been dying for like a decade. And he smells weird. Why do you ask? Oh, you. Are you hanging out with him? I'm generally of the mind that you can see whoever you want, but I have to draw the line somewhere. I'm coming to pick you up. Clearly you need a chaperone before you make any decisions you'll regret. Yeah, put a pin in that. Did you know that he can transform into a reality-shifting monster? Because that is currently happening. Noted. Your cousin hangs up the phone. Oh good, she took that in stride. I'm sure that'll end well. Do we have Dr. Kelly's number? You make your way to the door that beckoned to you yesterday, all intrigue now washed away. You know where it leads, and you know what secrets the stone that lurked in the forgotten basement of the clinic had to share with you. Now, the clinic holds a new terror. Somewhere beyond the narrow hallway leading from the house proper into the doctor's office, there is a monster, preparing to do something unthinkable. You grasp the handle and turn. Doc! Yes ma'am. You do as she says, ducking out of the way. She shoots. The gun isn't very loud. There's only a pop as the projectile leaves the barrel, whizzing through the air. You turn to see a dart embedded in Rhys's chest. He pulls the tranquilizer dart out of his chest, heaving heavy breaths as the drug courses through his system.
You're going to have to try harder than that, you No. How did you...
Wayne! As if you could hope to stop me, you pathetic waste of flesh. Before Wayne takes another step down the stairs, paint flows out between cracks in the wood. Rhys is panic pulling in a mob of furious smears to hold his enemies in place. The artist darts away, but the smears continue their work in his absence. Dr. Kelly makes her escape down the hallway, and Wayne is overcome, glued in place at the top of the stairs by stiffening globs of paint. Oh man, you know what this reminds me of? Amazing Stories, classic 80s horror show. They had an episode about a college student who created a formula that brings pictures to life. I remember that one really freaking me out as a kid. You run forward, braving the onslaught of the smears, dodging them as best you can as you try to see where Dr. Kelly went. The door in front of you is smothered in paint. Hey! Dr. Kelly's voice crackles out of some unseen speaker. You, Retcon. I'm stuck in the safe room. I can't help you from here, but you can help the both of us. Hey, no offense, seriously, but what the hell is your son? I wish I knew. He was fine until he hit puberty. Everyone said raising a teen was gonna be a bitch, but they don't know the half of it. I need you to get to the medical storage room. I'll give you further instructions when you're there. Rightio. You turn back around and head to the medical storage room. I'm here. Great. Now listen to me. I need you to use the black-taped key to get into the cabinet, and bring me the elephant tranquilizers. It's a bottle labeled carfentanil. Bear tranquilizers clearly ain't gonna cut it anymore.
An intercom system, huh, Doc? Good. You should hear this. Retcon, you don't have to do anything she says. I'm not going to hurt anybody else. Just her. If I don't, you and I both know she's just going to shoot me full of elephant tranquilizers? Did I hear that right? And shove me back down in that basement. Or maybe someplace even worse. And keep killing me every day for the rest of my miserable existence. I feel amazing right now. Better than I've ever felt in my life. I'm not dangerous. She's just scared because she knows she has to finally pay for what she's taken from me.
Look, Reese, things got really weird really quick here, but I'm not just gonna stand back and let you kill someone.
Why not? She wasn't afraid I might die. Does she know those tranquilizers aren't going to kill me? Does she care?
Trust me, Reese. I've always been careful with your medication. I want you to live. I love you.
Tell yourself whatever lies you have to, Mom. If you wanted a good relationship, you had your chance. And you decided to convince me I was dying, instead of just letting me exist. Don't try to spin it like some kind of crime of passion now that the consequences are staring you in the face.
Enough. Reese cries out in pain.
Ah, what the hell did you do to my shoulder?
You see, for the briefest instance, something coming out of Blaine's sleeve. Oh, weird. Just a flash of pale yellow, then it's gone, slithering back into Wayne's clothes. I'll handle it. Try to get somewhere safe until then. The two stagger off down the hallway. Quick, grab the tranquilizers and head to the safe room. Right, sorry, yeah, I just got a little distracted by all the things. You do as she says. The tranquilizers are easy to find, marked with a small square of black tape to match the key. She's certainly an organized woman. You make your way out of the medical storage room, and back to the hallway where Dr. Kelly disappeared. As you approach, Dr. Kelly heaves open the door, slowly breaking apart the mass of paint sealing it shut. Hurry! I don't think I can keep it open for long. You slip past her, into the safe room. She shuts the door quickly, though one of the little smears manages to slip past her. She stomps on it. Painted viscera splatters across the cement floor. It sounds like Reese and your friend are still fighting. We probably have a few minutes before he gets here. So I'm guessing you, knew something like this might happen someday? This is some sort of safe room? Old X-ray room. Lead walls. After I realized this whole situation was a possibility, I had the door reinforced with special remote-controlled locks. Glad it could finally come in handy. You know, in retrospect, you really could have taken more steps to keep this whole thing a secret. It almost feels like you wanted me to find out. She sighs. There's something about keeping a secret for so long. It makes you paranoid. It makes you do things that you know are objectively wrong just to maintain the illusion of your life. It isolates you. At some point, you just don't want to be alone anymore, whether you realize it or not. So you get sloppy. You leave things around you shouldn't, because that destructive little part of you wants to test the limits of how obvious you can be before someone is able to put two and two together. I'm not blind. I can see that things are happening in Scarlet Hollow. Unusual things. I guess subconsciously I must have decided if there was ever a time to let someone else in, it would be now. Yeah, I guess that would explain a few things. Though I will say, they definitely kept me guessing on a lot of this. I have no idea what Reese is. Let's talk about Reese. Yeah, I bet you have some questions. Go ahead. I have nothing left to hide. Okay, when did you first find out about his, condition? A little after he hit puberty. He had all the usual changes, then a few extra. Thickened nails, sharp teeth, elfish ears. I figured he might have some kind of genetic disorder, had him checked out at a few specialists, but there was nothing obviously wrong with him. Then we had an argument, and he changed right in front of me. It was nothing like what he is now, just a couple of inches and some facial abnormalities, enough to be noticeable. I was scared. He could see that, and he stopped. I thought it was a one-off, or maybe a hallucination. But the second time, it wasn't as subtle, and it didn't go away as easy. That's when I knew for sure that this was something beyond my realm of expertise. Did he know he was doing those things? I mean, he's sure taking it in stride now. I've been medicating him since he was 12. We've only had 3 incidents like this before, maybe 4 depending on what counts. This is the worst one by far. He doesn't seem to understand at first that he looks different, and I just make sure to stay on top of his dosages so he rarely ever does. But I've been preparing for this inevitability. He's an adult now, and there's only so much I can do to control him. And that's why you started poisoning him. Dr. Kelly sighs. Can we stop calling it poison? Yes, it's poison. But the act of me giving him poison was not me poisoning him. I was medicating his illness. It started when he was around 15. I'd been giving him increasingly high doses of Klonopin, but his body kept adapting and his symptoms would come back, especially if we ever fought. I couldn't keep ordering all those drugs. It was already suspicious, and I could risk losing my license, especially if anyone ever found out what I was using them for. Someone approached me with a solution. I took it. Really now? And who exactly would that be? I don't suppose you'd be willing to share that? And I've been dealing with the emotional and mental consequences of that decision ever since. Hey, yeah, that's super sad, and I really want to get back to that, but who approached you, and what exactly did they tell you? Dr. Kelly gives you a long, hard look. I don't want to talk about that woman. But screw it, I might die tonight. Sure, I'll tell you. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm sorry. What? Clearly I have committed that to memory, and nothing unusual is happening at all. We are really getting meta here. It's gotta be Sybil, right? But that's also really starting to feel a little too obvious. So what is Reese, exactly? At first I thought he was some kind of werewolf. Yes, thank you. But if he is, he doesn't follow any kind of full moon rules or anything. Silver don't do shit to him. And you've seen what he looks like. It's just weird. I almost wish I could examine him while he's fully transformed. I'd be fascinated to know what happens to him, or how his body does it. But he seems pretty hell-bent on ripping my throat out, so I guess that'll just have to remain a mystery. Was his dad like this? A strange little smile creeps onto Dr. Kelly's face. I wish I knew. Reese just kind of happened. I wasn't seeing anyone, I just woke up pregnant one day. I know how impossible that sounds. I'm a doctor, for Christ's sake. I kept having these weird dreams, almost like sleep paralysis episodes. Romantic sleep paralysis episodes. They were actually kind of sweet, but they were just dreams. But then, all of a sudden, my period stopped. I got morning sickness. And roughly 9 months later... Whoa, so like, bastard offspring of a nightmare spirit. Gotta say, that was not on my list of guesses. Reese. You know, that stone we found had a Greek motif on it. We could just be talking straight up demigod here. Like, what if one of those figures represented Morpheus or some other similar Greek god or entity of dreams? That might also explain his affinity for sleeping in the morgue near the stone. The relationship between you seems so strained. Yeah, you could say that. He was such a cute kid. When I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified. I didn't know if I'd be ready. But he made me love being a mom. It's not like it was going to be sunshine and roses forever, no matter what. Kids grow up, and they change. Sometimes for the worse. This is part of being a mom, too. Doing what you can to make sure the child you brought into the world isn't going to go around eating people. That actually does bring up an important question, though. Has Reese ever hurt someone? Or have you just been keeping him contained all this time for fear that he might? Well, he wants to murder me, so that's clue number one. It's not like he's usually a violent kid. He's mostly just sad. But every now and then we butt heads. And that's usually when this side of him comes out. Imagine if this happened any time he gets frustrated with anyone. Imagine he gets road rage one day, turns into a 12-foot-tall monster with a million teeth, and rips someone apart in the middle of a major metropolitan area. Yeah, he's dangerous. I don't know. I mean, I get the caution, but you don't see how this might be like a You don't see how this might be a self-fulfilling prophecy? Oh, don't preach to me. Is he a sweet kid most of the time? Absolutely. And Ted Bundy was sweet to the people he picked up off the side of the road. Didn't mean he didn't go ahead and slaughter them anyway. I know what my son is capable of, so it's my job to make sure he doesn't hurt anybody. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Alright, folks, my throat's worn down, so we're going to have to cut it a bit short today, but we will definitely pick up here next time. Gotta say, this is fascinating stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we will pick up here shortly. See you then. Special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Dragon Matrix 7, Mathew Smith, Revenant, Alois, Drakiith, Egg, ErieV23, EgonAlter, Emile, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to support the channel, you can do so by pushing the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or by checking out the Patreon, the YouTube memberships, or the Nexus GG page. Links are in the description.